Hi, and welcome to Mississippi Mourning, our Rest in Legend series. Join us as we travel to the graves to honor Mississippi's most legendary figures. Sometimes we'll go in the day, and sometimes we'll go at night, just for a little suspense, with permission, of course. We will be sharing their stories and how they came to rest in our great state of Mississippi. So prepare for an educational and entertaining tale as we dig into the past of those who have inspired, enlightened, or touched our lives, even in the smallest of ways. So if you're new here and you're just tuning in, I am your host, Erin Lee, and I want to give a big special thank you to all the new subs from our premiere episode last week, where we honored the legendary comedian Mr. Bill Hicks. And if you're interested in watching that episode and you're watching over on YouTube, I've posted that link down below if you want to take a listen. But please bear in mind, I have a new mic and I'm trying to work out the kinks, so please bear with me. But this week's Wrestling Legend, we're going to be honoring the actress, Miss Ruth Ford. She had a career that spanned for decades. She's appeared on Broadway, silent films, and the talkies. But who was her famous brother? What was her connection to John Lennon? And did she really live in a hotel? So join us as we journey to Brookhaven, Mississippi, the final resting place of this legendary actress, and uncover her story. Brookhaven, Mississippi is located about 54 miles just south of Jackson along I-55 South. Once in Brookhaven, we journey over to the Rose Hill Cemetery. This cemetery has several entrances, and I know it's probably morbid to some to say this, but this is a gorgeous cemetery, y'all. There's some distinct monuments, lots of obelisks and mausoleums. As when we visit cemeteries, I'd like to find the oldest graves there. And in Rose Hill Cemetery, the oldest grave belongs to a Philip Henry Schwall. He died 7 days shy of his second birthday. He was born July 25th of 1858. He died July 18th of 1860. We have finally located the grave of this week's resting legend, Miss Ruth Ford. Ruth Elizabeth Ford was born in Hazelhurst, Mississippi on July 7th of 1911 to Charles Lloyd Floyd and Mimi Gertrude Cato Ford. Her older brother was an influential American poet, writer, and publisher, Mr. Charles Henry Ford. Some records I found say that she was born in a hotel that her father managed, while other records say it was her brother who was born in a hotel. But regardless, they lived in a hotel for years while she was growing up, which kind of gives me the Shining vibes. I think that would be kind of cool to grow up in a hotel, have a maid service and all that. She wasn't just another pretty face. Oh no, this woman was highly educated. She attended the Mississippi College for Women in Columbus during the 1920s before she transferred to the University of Mississippi, or Ole Miss, and there she received a bachelor's degree in French in 1932 and a master's degree in philosophy the following year. She was also a member of the Chi Omega sorority. And I found a cool little telegram, so if you're watching over on YouTube, I've posted the link down below where you can check out the old telegram that she sent to her sorority sisters. I believe it was in 1962. And just a little lagniappe for you. The Mississippi University for Women, also known as the W, was chartered in 1884, and it made educational history as the first state-supported college for women in America. While she was attending Ole Miss, she met another Mississippi native, Mr. William Faulkner. It was during a dinner at the Oxford Tea Hound restaurant where Faulkner approached Ford and remarked, quote, "She had a very fine face," unquote. After she attended college, Ruth moved to New York and became a model. She worked in New York, Paris, and London. She also posed for the covers of Vogue, Harper's Bazaar, and Mademoiselle. After modeling for a while, she wanted to try her stint with acting, so she made her Broadway debut in 1938 in the Orson Welles' Mercury Theater's revival of A Shoemaker's Holiday. While appearing in several other Broadway plays, she met the German-American actor Peter Van Eyck. They married in 1940, had one child, a daughter. Sadly, the marriage did not last, and they split up about a year later. In 1941, she moved to Hollywood. She appeared in The Truck Buster, The Gorilla Man, Lady Gangster, and many other films. And it was during this time that she reunited with her college friend, Mr. William Faulkner, where he was now a screenwriter and she was an actress at Warner Brothers. And the story goes that Ruth had requested that Faulkner write a screenplay for her, and so he obliged with Requiem for a Nun. which was also touted as the first play ever written for an American actress by a Nobel Prize winner. It opened on Broadway at the John Golden Theater and it ran for 43 performances. Faulkner also presented Ford with the English rights to the stage version of Requiem in 1950. However, the production did not open in the United States until January of 1959. In 1946, she left Hollywood and returned to New York, where she would appear in 13 Broadway plays, including No Exit, The House of Bernarda Alba. She also appeared in two plays by the native of Mississippi, Tennessee Williams, The Milk Train Doesn't Stop Here Anymore, and A Streetcar Named Desire. Another play that she appeared in, another native of Mississippi, Mark Crawley's A Breeze from the Gulf. In 1952, she married fellow actor Zachary Scott, who would later officially adopt her daughter. After the death of her husband, Zachary Scott, in 1965 from a brain tumor, Ford bought an apartment in Manhattan's historic Dakota apartment building, where her brother, poet and artist Charles Henry Ford, would also live on the top floor. Some of her famous neighbors at the Dakota were John Lennon and Yoko Ono, Rex Reed, Leonard Bernstein, Lauren Bacall, Connie Chung, and Roberta Flack. It was actually Ruth Ford who dialed 911 on December the 8th of 1980 when she heard gunshots outside the Dakota. Later that night, that's when she learned that her good friend and neighbor John Lennon had been shot. Ruth's gorgeous apartment became a salon, and for the next 40 years, she was a muse to writers, artists, and musicians, hosting parties for people like William Faulkner, Tennessee Williams, Andy Warhol, and Greta Garbo. With her older brother Charles living upstairs in a small unit that had once been a maid quarters in apartment 103, the two siblings were an indelible pair. Between the two siblings' friends, they both had friends from all over the globe, and they would constantly host extravagant parties and teas. At one of their parties is where Leonard Bernstein, Arthur Lawrence, and Stephen Sondheim came up with the idea for West Side Story. Ruth's final film role was in Too Scared to Scream in 1985. This would be her last on-screen appearance. In 1987, Ruth revived Requiem for a Nun at her alma mater, the University of Mississippi, starring in and directing the play. Ruth and her older brother Charles continued hosting extravagant parties up until his death, September the 27th of 2002. Ruth was devastated and cut herself off and became a recluse for the years of her life. Ruth died August the 12th of 2009 at the age of 98. However, her ashes were not brought to Rose Hill until 2011, where her butler and lifelong friend brought her and her brother's ashes to Brookhaven to be laid to rest in the family plot. In her will, she left her entire estate to her butler. From her silent films in the 1940s to her slasher movie of 1985, Ruth appeared in over 50 films and television productions. She's best known for her role as Temple Drake in William Faulkner's Requiem for a Nun that was written specifically for her. Tennessee Williams described Ruth as, quote, the burnt heart of grade B pictures, unquote. From inspiring her good friend William Faulkner to hosting the creative dinner parties that brought about the classic musical West Side Story, this week we honor the legend, Miss Ruth Elizabeth Ford. Don't forget to tune in next week as we honor another resting legend. I'm Erin Lee, reminding everyone to be nice and stay humble.